the session as well. Okay, so for COVID-19, so all you know that this is a infectious disease caused by newly discovered coronavirus, and it has created so much impact to our country, to our organizations, and to people as well. And as of today, the confirmed cases are now up to 2.8 million, and the death rate is at 196,000 globally. And IMF, that is the International Monetary Fund, has projected 3% contraction on the global economy. So as a HR, human resources professional, it's time for us to add value to organizations by adopting the most effective strategies. That's why we have the session today, so that all our HR experts to share on how we adopt the strategies in order to add value to organizations. And I'm very glad that today we have a lot of participants who are experts in this area and who are willing to share and exchange ideas in this topic. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our facilitator of the day, who will talk more about the external strategies on our economic pandemic. And Mr. Roma is the facilitator. So Mr. Roma is going to introduce himself. After that, he will introduce the speakers of the day, and then we'll start the session. So Mr. Roma, I would like to pass the control to you.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. And Rita, thank you for the opportunity to facilitate this wonderful session on weekends. And of course, my name is Roma Tapubolon. I'm from Indonesia. I have worked, most of my career, I'm in consulting. I used to work for Gallup, Hay Group, and Korn Ferry, right? But now I run my own company. It's called Strengths ID. It's a coaching company based on a partner of Gallup in driving the strength movement in Indonesia. So today we have great speakers today. We coming from 3 different countries. Mr. Muhammad Aslan, Aslan from Malaysia. Is a HRBP at Adotco. And another great speaker is Mr. Engkakada Dan from Cambodia. He's an advisor to the Association of Cambodia Recruitment Agencies at the moment, and also an executive director to the Center of Sustainable Water. And the other great speaker is from Bangladesh, Mr. Dipyendu Dasoraf. He's an organization culture and employer brand expert at Grameenphone Ltd. All right, so I kind of share a bit about the speakers. Maybe I can let the speaker to introduce yourself. Maybe starting from from Aslan, or Mr. Aslan. Go ahead, Mr. Aslan.
Hi everyone. Morning. So
Morning.
Aslan from Edotco, Malaysia. So basically, I work with Edotco is a telecommunications industry. So yeah, prior to this, I worked with a few others industry as well, like the retails and manufacturing. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Aslan. So maybe how about Dan? Dan, can you share a bit about yourself? Mr. Engkakada, Dan. The co-host, can you help to unmute?
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Okay, I forgot to mute it.
Yes.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, and you can call me Dan as well. That is my last name. For the time being, I'm the advisor to Association of Cambodia Recruitment, the people working overseas. The other jobs of mine is the executive director to Center for Sustainable Water. Our nature is to build the capacity for new generation, especially really respond to the need of the market. That is our job. Before that's right for employer federation and the business. As our members, I said many in many committee. I'm also the trainers on employment contract and also human resource development. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nkakaradan from Cambodia. Thank you. So maybe we can give this turn to Mr. Dip Yendu Sauraf from Bangladesh. Hello, Dip. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Roma.
Maybe share a bit about yourself.
Yes, of course. Yes, I'd be happy to do that. Like Mr. Aslan, one of our speakers, I have also started my career in HR Business Partner. And I don't know if this is a very unfortunate or fortunate thing. This is my first organization I've been working for last 10 years. And this is a really long stay in a particular organization, Grameenphone Limited. Actually, this is also quite similar what Mr. Aslan has also said. This is also a telecommunication company, and this is a Bangladesh concern of the global company named Telenor. It's a Norwegian-based telecommunication organization. So from my part, as I have already said, that I have started my career as HR business partner to different functions of Grameenphone. After that, I acted as a what I would say engagement manager for quite a few years, and then last 2 years I've been working as organization culture and employer brand expert. As my major role in the organization is to reshape the behaviors, reshape the culture within the organization. I'm a very enthusiast of football, cricket, two most popular sports in my country.
Interesting.
And I'm quite a great enthusiast of practicing digital ways in HR, and simplification is one of my key necks. So this is a very short description of me.
Thank
Over
you so much.
Mr. Roma.
That's so great. Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much for the brief introduction, but very clear, very interesting. So maybe now we can start because we have some great questions today for the panelists. The first question, because the topic itself for today's session is HR strategies during global pandemic, right? So I would want to ask you about what will be the best HR strategies during global pandemic, and how do you know if they're effective? So if any of you can share.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Roma. If I'd like to take the opportunity to share a bit of my experience in this particular question. I'd like to start with this way, that this is what we call a global pandemic outbreak. So this means we don't have any clue how to deal with it, how to act with this kind of situation. Maybe this is not quite similar to some natural disasters that we may have seen in our countries, in our world. Mm-hmm. But the interesting and the common thing is this is a global crisis, and everybody, I mean, every single person has a role to play, because this cannot deal single-handedly. It's not possible. So the best way, I mean, if I don't go to the core HR strategies, how to deal with this situation, I think the best way is to educate people, to give them confidence, to give them information, what's going on around them. This is very important. The information doesn't only consist of the conditions, I mean, the situation within your country, within your around people, with the about the economy. Mostly it's about how we can deal with this situation from our existing roles, because most of us are working in different industries. We work in different roles. Somebody is interacting with customers at a daily basis. Somebody is working very remotely. So it's really one of the best and one of the prime thing for HR to identify what could be the possible ways of doing the business. And I also admit that the ways that we do business will not be the same in the coming days. So we need to be prepared. We need to find the alternative ways how we can provide the services to our customers, to the stakeholders. And end of the day, our motto should be never to let them down. To uphold
still keep the satisfaction high from the customer, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dib. Maybe I can let the other speakers also share about this. The question was, what will be the best HR strategies during global pandemic, and how do you know if they're effective? Go ahead.
To me, Cambodia, I think that our gentleman just mentioned earlier, that's completely right. It's not that easy because we cannot predict when it's come to an end for COVID-19. You know, based on the real situations right now in Cambodia, that we have one sector which is one of the best economy for our country, is the garment and the footwear sector. You know, after we do survey, we could see that because of the COVID-19, maybe around 60,000 jobs for the garment and footwear sector will be lost for that one, because we don't have any buyer demands from European countries, from the United States, because so far we have faced the same thing. For right now, that what we can do is, we can say that's really unfortunate for everybody. When we talk about the strategy, it's out of our hand. What we can do right now is case by case. And so there should be the connection between not only human resource part, but also for the whole company and also the government. We do need to work together with that one. For human resource, I think that right now we face the same thing about the layoff. But when we talk about laying off of the employee, the human resource manager also, we can say all the part of the human resource part do need to work together with the government. How can we ensure that the people that we lay them off, they could still can get some money to afford their basic needs. You know, in my country, you know, thanks to the government as well, even that is the small money, but they have issued a lot of regulation to support even that the small part. It's just like, you know, for example, like hotel and hospitality, they try to not to get any the salary tax from all the workers, all the employees. And for the garment and footwear sector, they could support around $40 for one person, because our minimum wage is around 180. And so they can, the government could have some. And in addition, the government still have to build the capacity for the people who has been laid off, in order to make sure that when they come back after the COVID-19, they could have a better job. For this one.
Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you for your insight. Thank you. So that's good insight from Cambodia. And maybe we can go to Malaysia from Aslan. Can you share a bit about that, about the HR strategy in Malaysia?
Yes. In Malaysia, actually, we are entering for the third stage of this lockdown. We call here as a movement control order, MCO. So basically, I think leadership play vital role in things, in these strategies, and then how the leaders make the decision, precisely and it's quick. Yeah, I still remember that during last two months when there is Malaysia's below cases of this virus, and how the leaders make the decisions to that will not impact the business as well as the employees, and how these communications towards the employees and keep them updated, and how we handle these situations without stifle to the business and the employees.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Aslan. This is good insight from Malaysia. All right. So I think every panelist have already shared about HR strategy in their own country, but I'd like to give this opportunity for I see that Jessica Sim from Singapore just joined the session. Jessica, if you don't mind, maybe you can share a bit about the strategy in Singapore. Maybe everybody else also would like to hear about that.
Hi everyone.
Hi, Jessica.
Yeah, okay. Basically, I think I sorry I'm late this morning. I've got another call.
Right.
Basically, the Singapore government has been very supportive to the business, and they're very prompt in offering the so-called assistance package to the companies. So I think internally, from a company standpoint, communication is very key, because I must say 80% of the workforce actually works from home. I mean, for those essential services. And so communication is very key in all this, because everyone working from home, to a certain extent, it can get quite insane. So whether communications via virtual meetings, emails from the senior management, on the updates and all that. So that is very key to gel the whole team. So that's one. And then from a the financial health of the company, I think it's not just a HR thing, but it's also HR, finance, the business heads getting together to have some scenario planning. I guess by now, most companies would have had their scenario plannings as to, for example, if this situation gets worse, what's lined up for the company? So what are the actions? You don't wait till the situation arises and then you think of action plans. So there should be kind of like various phases of action plans for companies. Like, for example, maybe phase one, at this moment where most of the people are working from home, business is very slow. From a business standpoint, companies probably will be thinking of what are the markets that they can leverage on. I mean, this region is badly hit, but there are certain markets that are still doing well. Like, for example, China has got over this whole, I wouldn't say got over, but kind of like they are on the recovery stage. So business activities are much heavier than the rest of the region. Then besides that, so to help business sustain a little bit longer, things like reducing OT, clearing of annual leave, freezing headcounts, freeze increment, travel stop, reduce marketing costs, because like, for example, reducing headcount and freeze increment, this has a direct impact on the bottom line. It has a direct impact on the financial numbers. Yeah. And so what's next? What's next for besides all this? And then that would be possibly like shorter work week, pay cuts, senior management take the lead in the pay reductions. Yeah, these are some of the measures that I would say most companies has lined up. But from a senior management standpoint, leveraging on the government grants like the job support scheme, and that can be quite substantial to actually keep the workforce for another month and beyond, so that you kind of like delay the possibility of any cuts and retrenchments. Yep, and also there's one which is leveraging on the training grants. I think the latest of which is was dished out yesterday, where the government funds 80% of the payroll for fresh grads or
Okay.
graduates of less than 12 months. So that is quite substantial for the company to look and divert attention to kind of like make improvement in your processes.
Yeah.
And that's where you can leverage on all these grants to get people or move your people to work on all these areas. Yeah. So yeah, and I think the lineup on communications, the email has to be planned very systematically on how and what to communicate for say this month, and then the plan has to be up also for what to communicate next month, so that then there is synergy in your communication plans as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very good. I think that's the key word just now, the synergy between government, corporates, employees, everybody, right? It's the synergy and making this easier for, better for them in terms of handling this, right? So
Yes,
thank
exactly.
you, Jessica. Thank you so much for sharing. I have other great and interesting questions later, but I just want to advise anyone, the speaker or whoever's gonna share here, to start with their name and the country, so that people will know the what do you call it, where you're from, before answering the questions later. Just want to remind everyone later. And another question that I would like to ask, because you mentioned also, Jessica, mentioned about the employees, right? But the question is, how can we ease anxiety surrounding, COVID-19 while keeping employees safe? Because even me, like I see the survey all the time, and then like Gallup measure the perception, the feelings, right? I see that the people are feeling helpless, fear, anxiety. These are the words that keep coming up from the global survey, right? So the question is, how can we ease anxiety surrounding COVID-19 while keeping employees safe?
Yeah.
Maybe go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, this is a very, very relevant questions, and many are actually having these questions on their mind, or they are already communicating or talking amongst themselves. But I think what is key here is to openly address. For those who are still operating on site, I think it's worth for the leadership team or the business unit heads to kind of like walk the ground and talk to the people, address any questions that they may have. We have got people asking, will our work permits be renewed upon expiry? Yes, of course. I mean, there's no plans for retrenchment. So I mean, it must be a very firm so-called decision or communication plan with the employees. And then the other thing that we can do, because every employee behaves differently, the level of so-called the threshold that every employee shows up can be quite different. Some will be very anxious. Some, because of other family commitments or financial commitments, they will be very uptight about how they are going to keep up. So getting them occupied, and so the basis is still communication. Have regular sessions with the employees from at the business unit level, at the department level, and form WhatsApp group chats so that you can constantly communicate and check into how they are feeling, and gather feedback from them.
Yes.
And and more importantly is to get them occupied, because it can very easily be distracted working from home, to be honest. So get them occupied, get them to work in teams, and give them a timeline for deliverables, but don't penalize them if they can't complete by the deadline, because the key is not the deadline. The key is to get them occupied and do things together.
Okay, thank you, Jess. So how about from Malaysia, Cambodia, and Bangladesh? Maybe Dip, Dant, and Aslan can also share a bit about this. My question was, how can we ease anxieties during the pandemic, during COVID-19, while keeping employees safe?
I think for my company that we've been working very well along with our employees, like Jessica's mentioned, on somebody on site, and most importantly, we've also focused on somebody who work remotely from home. You know, we yes, thanks to World Economic Forum as well, that we learned from them, and we try to keep them updated about the COVID-19. But you know, fortunately, in my own country, that we have very small cases right now. We have only 9 cases, they are still in hospital, and no one death, and no zero new case like in Singapore within this week. You know that we have some sort of the approach for us, that something like every week we have the virtual happy hour. There's the weekly that we join together. You know, that everybody can have a party from home and we can join together. And so, during that time, we just like Jessica mentioned, you know, punishment or no fine or no something like that. And then we just try to update everybody is that what we have achieved so far for our own company remotely. Yeah.
Right.
And we also have some sort of virtual team building exercises. You know, every week, and we can join together. You know, it's just like it's raining now, but we learn how to dance in the rain, how to dance in the storm. We know that outside is very dangerous, but we can enjoy ourselves in the dangerous situations. This is what we do. Most importantly, we also try to motivate them to dress formally at home. They should focus on the dress for success. It's something like everybody need to focus on that one. This is what we done so far. We
That's
just
really
enjoy.
good.
That's right. And this is what we done.
I mean, from what you and Jessica has shared just now, I think we only also focus on well-being of the employees. Whether it's financial, their career, their what do you call it, health, physical, right, social, and community well-being. That's very good. That's very good. Thank you for sharing. How about Bangladesh and Malaysia? If Aslan and Dip can share a bit about that. How do you keep employees safe during, you know, to ease anxiety at the moment?
Yes, of course. Like Jessica and Dan said, actually, it's quite a similar thing we have done in Bangladesh as well. We need to keep our focus on not only getting the things delivered from the employees, but it's very essential to give them some mental peace, securing their well-being. So it's a very good thing, and we have got a very good responses from our employees by engaging them in the virtual platforms where everybody joins and everybody shares his or her views and dilemmas, even if they don't get to share in the bigger forum. We enabled every leaders to have a structured interactions at least daily once in the morning or in the form of wrap-up meeting, so that they can share their dilemmas, their difficulties, their confusions, and get to meet with the peers that they visits every day into their office. Like they have
Just a quick question, Dip, because you mentioned about engagement. Do you see employee engagement during work from home or where they have to work remotely? Do you think it's the same, the employee engagement, or it's different in terms of engagement level?
It's I would definitely say it's not the same, because this is a new thing. This is a virtual thing, and everybody needs to settle down with these virtual platforms and the ways that we interact with people, not meeting them personally. So it's a different thing, of course, but the best thing is like when we get into the office, we sit in a particular zone where my peers and my colleagues sit around me. So while it's 41 days, we are in a lockdown in Bangladesh. So it's a very long time, and it's a very different situation. So if I don't structure,
I hear somebody on the background. Can somebody mute the mic, please? Foster, can you help me to? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So if we at least meet my peers, my same working group virtually every day, the difference would be the physical meet and the virtual meet, but the essence would be the same. And another thing I'd like to mention particularly is any organization who is capable of doing online surveys during this lockdown, I think this gives a better understanding how people perceives working in such situation in the lockdown. We have had a survey for around 2,200 plus employees, and I've seen a very good participation from them. They have mentioned about some of their expectations, but in the larger scale, we have got to know how they are feeling about the systems available for their engagement, how the leaders' interaction helps them work smoothly, having mental pressures, and how we can also think about for the coming days. I know this is a new working environment, and the world will never be the same like it was before 3 or 4 months. So I think it's a very good learning to work on the future.
Okay. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. What do you call it, Dip, for sharing this. I will go to Aslan for this opportunity, and after that, I probably ask Rita also to share from Hong Kong. I would like to know. But from Malaysia, Aslan, what do you think? My question was how we can ease anxiety while keeping employees safe at the moment.
Yes. I still remember that on the first week that we locked down, work from home is something new for everyone. So it's fun actually for the first week, and then it's turned up different. Differently. It will be work from home is more exhausted actually, and because of this culture shock for the employees, this anxiety actually at that time is at the point very high, and then very serious at the matters for that. So we have a few approach on how to keep the anxiety surrounding the employee at ease. So we have prepared a few platforms like HR. HR always reach out the employees in all the communications, and then make sure that communications must be made humanizing in the communications. Okay. And then we're focusing on something that we can control, and then we have a few activities with the staff as well, and then keep the, like Dave said, the engagement level and push the engagement approach towards the employees. Of course, difference, but then we try to keep at the maximum level that we can approach these employees. And then all the activities, of course, be in this online, virtual.
Yeah.
And then the latest one, the activities that we going to strengthen the mental in our employees. We have psychiatrists and psychologists to give a few talks about how to strengthen the mental wellness.
Hello, Foster. Yeah. Okay. All right, Aslan, can you hear us, Aslan?
Yes.
Okay. So I just wondering, Foster, in the background, I can hear noise. Can you help to mute? Okay, that's good. All right, cool. All right, sorry for the interruption, Aslan.
That's okay.
So what were you saying?
So basically, that's the approach that we use to ease the anxiety.
Oh, sorry, Foster. I can still hear somebody with the background noise. Can you help me to find out?
I think the member, Susan, can you just mute yourself?
Thank you. Wait. All right. I can still hear it.
That's actually Foster is trying to keep muting, but it's getting unmute every frequent time.
What is Cambodia? Okay. All right. Do you still hear the background noise, everyone? Aslan, do you hear the background noise?
Yes.
Yeah, there's something wrong, and now it's much better now.
Is it much better
now?
Now
It's gone. Now it's gone.
It's gone? Okay, thank you, Foster. Thank you for taking care of this. Thank you. Okay. So Aslan, sorry about that. So you were saying?
Yeah, I say that aside from the engagement, we have to strengthen our employees' mental wellness. So
Okay.
a few approaches that I suggest you could engage with local secretaries or psychologists, and then give
Yeah.
a few virtual talk about that.
I agree with you. So compassion, stability, and hope, it becomes very important. Yeah. So we have
Yes.
people actually having conversation on that. Thank you so much, Aslan, for sharing. I'd like to give this opportunity to also Rita to share about from Hong Kong.
Okay.
How is it over there?
Thank you, Roma. Actually, I'm going to share about this well-being, not just, I think it's for all countries, especially to consider. I'm more concerned on this psychological well-being instead of the physical well-being. I think we talk a lot about this physical well-being by taking care of their physical health and so forth. I think the we also too. Say, for example, I think nowadays a lot of companies are undergoing sort of economic crisis, meaning that their business have heavily been negatively impacted. And usually they'll think of laying off staff or maybe cutting their pay and so forth. And during this situation, as employees, they will be scared because they don't know what the company would do, right? And a lot of companies will think like this. So as a company who really want to be a caring company, wanted to keep the staff, which will ultimately help the growth of the company. As a human resources manager, maybe we should give some advice to our, say, CEO that should we adopt some kind of other strategies instead of cutting their pay or adopting headcount cuts and so forth. So if they're able to come up with this kind of more positive strategies, then in turn the staff will feel relieved. And of course we have to publicly announce it and then tell the staff that we are not undergoing this kind of challenging period. Maybe the staff can come up with some kind of good advice on how we can get over this period of time. And I would like to share with you a real story about a similar situation. And it happened in the States, and then it happens at the time of Lehman Brothers. At that time, we are also undergoing the economic crisis.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
And that company actually had experienced 30% decrease in their sales order. So the CEO of the company got together a group of senior executive on how to rectify the situation. And then they came up with the idea of cutting headcounts. And then the CEO just responded saying that, no, I don't want to cut headcount. I would like to pay more attention to heart count. So they end up having a policy of applying no pay leave to the employees. And each employee is required from the bottom to the senior level to take, say for example, I think two weeks unpaid leave. So just when the staff heard about that, they felt relieved because they just thought that the company only told about low pay leave, and they all understand that the company were undergoing difficult situations. But the company talked about the heart count, but not the head count. So they talk, and then it came up with the situation that for those who are having financial difficulties, they end up, and for those who are having they are quite well off in their financial situation, they offer to have employees are taking more unpaid leave. So in the end, you don't expect that the relationship between employees have improved, and
right.
They only end up saving more than what they originally targeted. So it implies to us that when we are going through difficult times, try to really touch the people's heart by adopting some policies which are to their advantage. By explaining to the employees, the employee will come up with some kind of good advice which will help the company to get through this difficult period. As human resources managers, it's our role to tell our business owners that we should adopt similar kind of strategy in order to get over this period. And if this period is over, I'm sure that the employees of the company really help the company to grow further. And also this is a time to show that the company is really good. So that's my sharing, yeah.
That's very good, that's very good. Thank you so much, Rita. And there's so many interesting insights from Dan, Dib, Aslan, Rita, and Jessica. but now I have so many questions. People, I think they just eager to ask questions. I think Foster, if you can we open a Q&A session? Can you help me to open the Q&A session? Because I know there's so many participants now want to ask questions.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great. Anyone who wants to ask questions, go ahead. I know that maybe is there a Q&A feature? Right. Q&A. Right.
But I think for those who want to speak, please unmute yourself, because if I unmute everyone, so it will be very, very crowded and noisy.
Yes, thank you, Foster. So anyone, I know there's some questions from Peggy before. So go ahead. For example, Miss Peggy, you want to ask something about learning and development? You can unmute yourself, and then you can introduce yourself, and then ask the questions. Go ahead, Peggy. Hello. Peggy. Okay. So so if not, maybe I'm just gonna wait. Foster, Peggy is asking like why she cannot speak. I mean, like the unmute. Can you help her to unmute, please? Peggy Putri from Indonesia. Peggy Putri from Indonesia. Yeah. Hello, Mbak Peggy. Can you hear me?
Now Peggy can talk.
Okay. So if you cannot hear her, maybe I'm gonna ask the questions. Is that okay, Foster? Foster, is that okay? I'll just read it out. All right. So the questions for panelists are: what upskilling efforts have been made to prepare employees in the event of this pandemic? In terms of L&D, learning and development. Anyone want to share? Dip, Don, or Aslan?
Yes, of course. From L&D side, what I have seen from my organization, L&D has came up with a very interesting topic. It's distance leadership. The content lies with this concept is how you can motivate, how you can engage, how you can get things delivered from your employees, even if it's not in the physical space, it's in the digital space, somewhere working remotely. So it's not the hard skills that leadership requires. It's kind of methods, the approaches, the empathy techniques, how leaders can get employees' heart.
Okay.
How he or she can approach to the particular employee or his or her team member. And from that context, I would also like to mention, as I have said earlier, it's giving a structure of the day. I mean, you are not getting in touch with your peers, your colleagues daily or the day long. For giving a little boost, and then sharing some of the working pressures or the deliveries that they have to deal during the day. And in the wrap-up meeting, probably they can discuss about the updates and about some of the progress on those deliveries. And at the same time, there is a business continuity plan meeting every day fixed in the organization, where every part of the organization takes part in that meeting. so they can discuss how the market is going, how the technical things happen during the day, what certain things might come up tomorrow, so that they can take better preparations. So if these things are done in a unique fashion in the organization across every departments and divisions, this gives a common synergy to all the employees. Like they have their informal meetings, they have their informal meetups over calls, over OTT platforms, and they share the good experiences with their team as well. So if everybody shares the same with their peers, then this becomes a good habit, this becomes a good behavior practice in the organization, and this helps in this situation very well manner.
Very good, very good. Thank you, Dip. So Peggy, just want to ask you, because is that clear, or is there any questions from you? Go ahead. Maybe you can unmute your mic if you're able to do so. Peggy Putri. Okay, so he's not replying, but thank you, Dip. Thank you, Dip. Maybe any others panelists want to comment on that, on the L&D part? On the L&D part, learning and development. Dan or Aslan?
Yes, we utilize 100% in this virtual or e-learning, and it's fortunate for us that we have this LinkedIn learning, and we encourage the staff by, for example, like we have recent programs that we recommended the courses, and then with the quizzes, and then we encourage the staff stand a chance to win by answering the quizzes, as well as when you participate and go through with the courses that we recommended. And other things that the development is still ongoing, and we work together with these governments that some they start to introduce some tips or incentive on develop the peoples in this handling in these situations, and then work together with the vendors, local trainings, how they can support us on e-learning or virtual.
Okay, okay, that's good. That's good. Thank you.
Hi, Rama, can you hear me now?
Oh, Peggy. Hi, Peggy.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So, the connection is, I lost voice, so
yeah,
I cannot hear
okay,
anything
but,
for some time.
Yeah. So Dip and Aslan already helped to answer your questions. But what do you think? Do you have anything to say about learning and development, because you asked these questions? How about in Indonesia? Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I have another question. I don't know if it's already answered or not. My curiosity is from all over Asia. What type of development or what the subject or program that you suggest the most, or you make it become the new habit for your corporate, or mostly in your country? Which one, what type of development that can support you to survive or can help the your people to survive this COVID-19 related issue, or prepare them for after this condition? So that's my questions. What's the most suggested development program or learning program that you suggest, or you think this is going to be the best program to learn?
Good. Thank you, Peggy. But maybe I give this opportunity to Don, because Dip and Aslan already shared before. But Don, addressing to Peggy's questions, what type of development suggested to at this moment, the pandemic? Can you share a bit about your insights? Don, thank you.
Yeah.
You were muted, but now it's good. Now you're unmuted.
Okay. Yeah.
Good.
That is really difficult, frankly speaking, because we're trying to live in the future, not in the moment right now. It's only my experience is, I think that's all two gentlemen from Bangladesh and from Malaysia, they already made the answer for that one. But to me, because I'm trying to think something very simple. For the time being, I would like to suggest that all the employees, they need to be stable with regard to their anxiety. What I have done so far for learning and development, I just trying to make them much happier, much comfortable with their own situations by giving them, like, we have 1 hour almost, every 3 days that we have some sort of yoga or exercise as the team. That is what we done so far. With regard to your questions that how can they survive after the COVID-19, it's still in limbo. That's really hard.
Right.
Because even Trump, even the president of Canada, even the prime minister of France, they still could not find the real answer for that. Because we have to be realistic for this case. We have to live in the moment, not in the future for the time being. And this is what I would like to suggest. That is really hard, At more than million jobs lost in the United States, even in my country. But what we need to do right now, we have to stabilize the anxiety of our employee. Yeah.
Yes. Stability.
Yeah,
Stability is the key. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All
Okay,
right.
maybe.
Thank you.
I think that maybe the other, they can have better idea for these questions.
Yes.
But this is what I have done so far for my own members. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. But I don't know if Jessica is still here. Foster, can you check? But I think if Jessica is still here, there's a good question from Malaysia. From Malaysia. His name is He, and the question is, yes, Rita.
Share a little bit about this L&D training.
Yes, sure, Rita. Go ahead, Rita.
A short one, because I understand that we're running out of time. For me, I think it's more the mindset of the staff, because I think we are now experiencing all of the Great Depression, right? Some experts says that it's even worse than the Great Depression. I think we should work on the mindset of the staff, telling them that we are stronger than our problems that we are having at the moment. If we need to excel ourselves, we need to get over this issue. We work together and we learn together in order to smarter, and we have to work harder. I think this is the message that we have to get across to our employees. If they need to change their mindset from being negative to positive, that's the training course that we should organize for them, because we work on their mindset first. Once they have changed their mindset, everything will come into play. That will be my sharing.
From negative to positive. That's very good. It's positive psychology. But from negative to positive, yes. Thank you, Rita. Thank you for sharing that. Now I wanna give he from Malaysia. Jessica, I hope you're still here. There's a good question for you to Jessica. I mean, when you say Jessica, don't penalize the staff when they are unable to deliver during the WFH period, work from home period. How can we manage the productivity and deliverable? This is good. So how can we manage the productivity and deliverable when they have to work from home? So go ahead, Jessica, if you're listening.
Yes, I'm still here. Okay, basically when this is kind of like unprecedented times, and it's not easy actually for everyone, from the leadership team to the employees and also the ground staff working on site. Everyone have their own set of worries, whether is it job security, whether is it the stability of their jobs, financial stabilities and all that. So when we say that we try to balance, actually it's not balancing, but rather try to encourage them. There are a lot of so-called distractions, a lot of emotions going through where people may not communicate. So this is the time where management can render support, can give them the encouragement. So try to encourage virtual discussions. And in fact, some employees thought it's during this period of work from home that they get to talk each other more than when they're in the office, because in the office there's a tendency that you see each other and things get resolved maybe one-to-one. But now, because everyone is working virtually, working from home, so the team discussions are more intense, and because everyone is working from home, you tend to get groups together. You tend to discuss management would want. I would think it's good for management to kind of like have more leeways for the staff. So more to encourage than to penalize. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, Jess. Thank you, Jess. I think it's a good answer. Thank you.
And
another. Yes, I can hear Dip. Dip is talking, right? Dip, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dip.
It's a very good discussion going on, and I'd like to add just one more thing, since I feel this is very crucial. I think building a trusting culture within the organization is very, very essential for the time being, because everybody is working from home, and they are having so much mental pressures about their families, about their neighborhood, about the country, about the socio-economy thing. So if we can build the trusting culture within the organization and everybody trust with their colleagues, so probably that can also help, because that can ease some of the working pressures.
Wow, Dip, this is very good, because actually that was like, you can read people's mind, because that's the next questions actually. So people, there's this question that's related to what you just said about trusting culture. The question from Shobit Mathur. Hello, Mathur. This is, let me read your questions, right? How can we strike a balance in our communications between keeping teams motivated while also presenting a realistic picture of what might happen in the worst case scenario? Any recommendations or any experience on that? So go ahead, Dip. Go ahead. That's very relevant to what you're saying. Go ahead. And other panelists can also share later. Go ahead, Dip.
Okay. Yeah, my recommendation would be trusting your employees, trusting your colleagues, because they're already going through lots of pressures from different angles, and only way you can keep the business up and running by motivating them, by giving them the moral support. A bit of empathy, a bit of moral support can really boost up the motivation that they are already having. And I also want to mention one more thing. Like for my case, the 41 days lockdown really put my moral way too down, because until and unless we have a planned or unplanned event coming up, or we get into some sort of sickness, it never happened that I stayed in the home for such a long period of time. So this is also a mental pressure for me. But yes, I have figured out so many interesting things. I have started taking up mind bender games. I have started taking a virtual museum tours that Google are offering. You can take some museum available in Google, and you can give it a tour.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, because I started playing Counter-Strike again.
Yeah,
Counter-Strike.
And the most important thing I feel to leverage this time is get the most networking available, and get into networking the more you can, because some of the time you're working on your deliverables, but you get some ample amount of time for your networking. And if you can work on this after the pandemic is over, probably you get too much busy, but this effort will remain with you for the rest of your lifetime.
That's great. That's great. Thank you, Dave. But maybe I'll give you this turn opportunity to Dan and Aslan, because this a good question from Sabit Mathur is from KL, from Aksendo KL, Kuala Lumpur. So any recommendation or any experience on that, and how we can strike a balance in communicating between, to keep them motivated, positive, while also present a realistic picture what might happen in the worst case scenario. Don and Aslan, go ahead if you want to share.
Yeah, I think we should humanizing in communications. Don't lose touch on these human things, and then you can mix up with these emotional and connections in the communications. So even though we presenting a clear or worst case scenario is what's happening with this pandemic, but try to have the elements that as a human thing, some sort of that.
Okay, all right. Thank you for sharing. Don, you want to add, or is it enough? Don, what about Don? Yeah. Go ahead, Don. I think you're muted, Don. I mean, if you can unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
That's so many times.
Thank you.
For us, it's just like the Liverpool Football Club for our association. And we have our slogan, you know, that no one leave behind. Even, and we try to communicate with all our employees positively. Even somebody has been laid off, but we still pay them 40% of our salary, of their salary. Just like Rita mentioned, you know, we how to communicate well, and that we have to stay positive together. That is the way that we communicate. Like I mentioned earlier, even that we work from home, but we still have some sort of, you know, virtual party, and, you know, we have some sort of virtual team building. This is the way that we keep engaging each other. We still close to each other, and we have to get through this situation all together. This is what we've done so far. Yeah.
Right.
So like Mr. Deep mentions, that is that we have to do it strategically, how to make our employee happy, how to make our employee engage. And this is what we done so far. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dan, for sharing. But okay, now the time already shows 11 o'clock. But maybe I'm gonna just wrap up. Basically, we're talking about a lot about well-being, about keeping our employees happy, and then at the same time we try to engage them while they're working from home, and then to keep them productive. But thank you for all panelists, Mr. Muhammad Azlan from Malaysia, Mr. Kadadan from Cambodia, and Mr. Dipiandu Dasara from Bangladesh, and Jessica Lim before, who actually participated in sharing insights. Thank you so much. But now I will give the control back to Rita, because Rita has some announcement to share with everyone. Go ahead, Rita.
Thank you, Roma, for facilitating this wonderful session, and thanks to speakers for spending your time to share with us your insights. And I'm pretty sure all of us have a lot to take away from session. This opportunity, we would like to share with you that we are having a survey on this topic, COVID-19. And we are putting together a survey, and we are going to make it big, meaning that we would like each of the HR practitioners of each country to complete the survey for us. And after that, we'll put together the result. And then thereafter, we'll share the result with all of you. So as human resource practitioners, we need to work together to get over this period, and this is what we want, the message that we want to convey to all our fellow practitioners. And so hopefully when you receive the survey, please just send it to your network so that we can get more people to take part in it. Okay, so without ado, I would like to conclude the session today. And thank you very much for our speakers, our facilitator, and the participants for spending your time. And so we'll have another session next month on our announcement. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Thanks a lot. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care and stay safe.
Stay
Stay
safe.
Safe.